produce quality, you know, that you will find. Take a look on my right as we exit this walking bridge here. On my right, you'll see a bronze statue here. That statue is of St. Anthony de Padua. St. Anthony is significant to San Antonio, obviously. St. Anthony, St. San Antonio. And I'll explain that in a second. That statue, however, was given to us in 1968 for our World's Fair. All eyes were on San Antonio in 1968 when we had our World's Fair. And that statue was a gift from Portugal. The World's Fair that we had was like a 6-month-long party, basically. And the exhibition that took place was of the mixture of cultures. In fact, the theme of the World's Fair was confluence of civilization. And it was all about the old world, or the European world, coming into contact with the Americas, the cultures of the Americas. And so that was the theme of the World's Fair. Right over here on my right, you'll see that church steeple right there. That's the St. Joseph's Catholic Church. And the St. Joseph's Catholic Church was built in the 1860s by and for the German community here in San Antonio. And they did that in order to hold their Catholic masses in their native language. One way that they keep that tradition going is the last Sunday of every month, there's actually a German service held there where they do it all in German, and they even do the hymns in German as well. Pretty amazing. I'm sure you guys are going to want to move to San Antonio after my tour because you're so excited about it. You're going to want to look up the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce. San Antonio Chamber of Commerce will tell you everything you need to know about where you want to live in San Antonio, what you need to know to move your business here, among other things. Now, one of the things I want to explain to you guys is from where I picked you up till right here, this is all a man-made part of the river. It was dug out in the 60s. I'll come back to that later. However, the part we're about to go into, that part of the river is the natural flow of the river. And the area that we're about to enter into is known as the horseshoe. It's because it has a horseshoe shape. And I will explain that in just a moment here. Just wait for a little bit of traffic here. Alright, good. Now, the area we're going into, ladies and gentlemen, is the natural flow of the San Antonio River. We're only going through 2.5 miles of it. However, it's about 140 miles long. Okay? So we'll come back to that in a minute here. We're gonna actually come back this way from this area. If you take a look straight ahead here and to the left a little bit, that's the Hilton Palacio del Rio. The Palacio del Rio translated is Palace of the River. Palace of the River. And the Palacio del Rio, this Hilton Hotel, is actually in the Guinness Book of World Records. It's in the Guinness Book of World Records because of it was the fastest hotel that was constructed using modular construction. What that means, ladies and gentlemen, is if you take a look at the first four floors here, those first 4 floors were constructed here on site. All those rooms above the 4th floor were constructed 8 miles south of here by the H.B. Zachary Construction Company. And when they built those rooms, they actually they completed them by them being fully furnished. So when they brought them on the back of flatbed trucks 8 miles south of here, and they used a crane to stack them, they were already fully furnished. They had beds in them. Everything was bolted down. This hotel was completely booked solid for the 68 World's Fair, and it hadn't even been built yet. So it was built in record time in 202 days. And so that was a pretty big accomplishment for the H.B. Zachary Construction Company. And they did that just in time for the World's Fair. Take a look on my right, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this big green structure on my right. Everybody see that? That's the world's largest salsa bowl. Take a look at that. We go through 3 of those every week. That's incredible, right? There's a lot of tomato in there. Over here on my left, see that sign? It says La Villita, La Villita. That means the little village. And that was the home of the Spanish soldiers stationed here in the 1700s. In the 1850s, there were a number of German families that lived there. Now, I'm not going to talk right now, so you can take a look at what's going on here. They're getting ready for a performance here in the Arneson River Theater. I'll let you guys take a look and listen to the music there.
Like that. करेंगे ना अभी स्कूल का
बच्चे लोग हैं so cute.
I should give them that show, right? In the swing thing. Hey! Now, that river theater, ladies and gentlemen, was a part of the River Beautification Project from 1939 to 1941. The original plan was to do that in 1929, but the stock market crashed. So the Great Depression ensued, and all this downtown river area essentially was a part of this beautification project. It was a part of the New Deal of putting people back to work during the Great Depression. Some of you guys might have recognized that theater from the movie Miss Congeniality with Sandra Bullock. There was a scene shot right there on the stage there with Sandra Bullock in that Artisan River Theater. And on the stage there were 5 bells on the stage. Those 5 bells represent the 5 missions here in San Antonio. Now, we just passed some waterfalls that weren't running, but you're going to see some more waterfalls here in the river. The reason we have so many is to keep the aquatic life thriving. There's over 130 species of aquatic life in the San Antonio River. Now, up here on the right, it looks like they're taking some pictures here, but if you take a look here on the right, notice this little island right over here. That island is known as Marriage Island. The reason it's known as Marriage Island is because over 300 couples get married on this island every year. It's a heart-shaped island that is comprised of the roots of a cypress tree. Take a look at this piece of art right there. That's known as Massenet's Table. It's named after Father Damien Massenet, who famously held that Catholic Mass that I told you about earlier, in which he named this river San Antonio River. Now, I told you about Marriage Island. There was a study done that 92% of the people who've gotten married on Marriage Island are still together today. It's pretty amazing. This tunnel right here has the unofficial name of being the Love Tunnel, because when people get married on that island, they hop on a boat and they go through this area. So if you want to give your neighbor a kiss, you're welcome to give him that. Some of you may have to ask permission to do that.
Like the Venice thing where you go under that bridge. Yeah.
Now, as we come to this part of the river, take a look at that pointy building at the end of what appears to be the end of the river, with the green roof. That building right there has the distinction of being one of the longest continuously run courthouses in the state of Texas. It's the Mayor County Courthouse. It opened up in 1896, and it stayed open until today. This building on my left, ladies and gentlemen, which you'll see lit up certainly later tonight, that's the Life Tower building. This one on my left. The Life Tower building was opened up in 1929, and it was constructed using a neo-Gothic architectural style.
The one in
if you look at the top, you'll see those gargoyles on the corners there of this 8-sided structure. Those gargoyles are actually hollowed out. And when it rains heavily, they spout water from their mouths. Look at these faces right here between the first and second floor there. Those are what are known as grotesques. They were put there intentionally in order to ward off evil spirits. And actually, one of them looks like my aunt. Over here on my right, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at the world's largest human aquarium. Wave to the humans. She was waving. She was waving. And you know what? Sometimes you have to hit the glass for them. The Homewood Suites, ladies and gentlemen, is actually that building there. It's a Hilton property. And that particular building used to be the San Antonio Drug Company from 1919 to 1963. And what you're going to find is a lot of the buildings down here on the Riverwalk, they've been repurposed, meaning that it was at one time something and now it's something else. There's another example of that on the right here, on my right. Today, that's the International Building. At one time, that was our San Antonio Public Library Central Branch for about 30 years. It houses offices for the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Since we're all BFFs, right? Best friends forever. If you look underneath this building here, you'll see a marina parked with several boats. That's where we park our boats at night. And during heavy rainfall, we'll actually run out of here. We'll run our boats out of here. The reason being is because we'll close off the floodgates that we're about to drive through right now. Take a look. Look on on the left and right here on the sides of this floodgate, you'll see what appears to be a metal sheet. That sheet is in the shape of about a quarter of a pie. Everybody see that? What happens here when we have heavy rainfall, they raise the gates here on gate number 4. And what they do essentially is it takes the shape almost of like a truck tailgate closing, right, on the tailgate of a truck, right, coming up and closing. So that closes and it protects all the businesses over there. So I'm going to give you a quick visual here. I've been talking about the horseshoe. Everybody take a look to the back of the boat here. Everybody take a look. The horseshoe is what we just came out of. The San Antonio River starts 4 miles north of here from a spring from the Edwards Aquifer, and it flows downward and it goes into the horseshoe, and then it continues south that way, right behind us, for about 140 miles. Finally, it meets up with the Guadalupe River, and then 10 miles later, it flows into the Gulf of Mexico. So, in 1921, there was this major flood down here, where 50 people died, and a large amount of destruction. So the city of San Antonio and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, they worked on a plan. This is it right here. This is the flood bypass channel. Essentially what they did, take a look back here, what they did was they created a connection to that horseshoe, and they put a floodgate here and here that allowed that heavy waters to come down this flood channel. This is the deepest part of the Riverwalk. It's about 18 to 20 feet deep right here. If you take a look on the right, you'll see the Drury Plaza Hotel. The Drury Plaza Hotel, ladies and gentlemen, built this sidewalk here that these people are on, and they gave it as a gift to the city. And the reason they did that was because before this sidewalk was built, if you were walking on the horseshoe area, when you get to gate 4, you'd have to go to street level, walk several blocks, then come back down. But because of this sidewalk, you can make a continual loop at river level, so that's pretty nice. Take a look straight ahead here. You see where those boats are? That's the north channel of the Riverwalk. We're not going to go to that part of the river. However, you see that one that's further away from us? There's a sign on the front. It says Rio Taxi. They've also got checkered flags on the back. If you would like to go to the northern part of the river, you're going to want to flag down one of those Rio Taxi boats, and for a fee, you can go see the northern reach of the river. It's called the Museum Reach. There's a number of restaurants, shopping opportunities. The zoo is not too far from the end of it there. But just find one of those Rio Taxi services. Now, take a look at this gate here that we're about to go into. Everybody see that big door up above the gate, the opening there? That 3-ton gate is lowered down almost like a guillotine, in a guillotine style. It takes about 15 minutes for it to happen. But when this gate closes, and that gate closes down there, that's what protects all these businesses. And that's what allows them to stay open pretty much year-round. I mentioned to you guys the flood of 1921. Look at the sides of these buildings here. You're going to notice some trees growing out of the sides. That's because when the flood hit, it uprooted a number of trees. See this big tree right here coming out of the side? It uprooted a number of the trees. See this right here? Coming out of the side of the building? It uprooted some trees, and they took root in the sides of those buildings, and they've been there ever since. This building right here, this is the Drury Inn. It used to be the San Antonio City Public Service building. This whole first floor was flooded out during that flood of 21. And really that flood was the beginning, that was the wake-up call that the city really needed to have in order to do something about flood control down here. Today, you know, those floodgates, you know, they keep everything safe down here. Pretty amazing.
Can you take a picture?
How's everybody doing? They're waiting to do this tour that you're on.